Thank you all so much for tuning in again today. So in my past makeup tutorials, I've tended to use a lot of products and a lot of tools. Some of you might think, I want to follow this, but I lack enough products. So for those of you who don't have many brushes or cosmetics, I've prepared this video for you. I'll be demonstrating a modern makeup look utilizing minimal products and tools. This isn't a natural makeup look, it's more of a full face makeup vibe, done with very minimal products. These are all the products I used. I didn't even use a single brush. This makeup used no brushes except the contours built in one. This is probably a first for my channel, so let's get right into it. Let's go. Oh, let's go. Alright, let's start with the base makeup. Since the weather's dry these days, I'll use a moist cushion to achieve a subtle glow. I'll be using the Dinto products from Daiso in the C9 color. For minimal products, I'm skipping concealer today. The cushion will do everything. At first, spread a thin layer everywhere. Consider it not for coverage, but for adjusting your overall skin tone. When applied in layers, you get thin yet effective coverage. Press lightly so the product mostly gets on the top part of the puff. Avoid the bottom. Apply to outer cheeks, brow, forehead center, and chin. The inner nose area, the outer forehead, and the remaining outer parts of the face. I'll start by patting the V-zone. I tried the Dinto cushion recently, and it applies so smoothly and moisturizes well, and the coverage isn't bad either. So I selected this product for today. You don't have to use this specific one. You can use any cushion you have, but the important thing is not to use one with very little coverage. If coverage is too low, you'll need to layer until desired coverage is achieved. Otherwise, it will be too thick. Use a product with good coverage. Don't apply to the outer nostril area. Leave that area and under the eyes bare. Apply everywhere except your under eyes and outer nostrils. The skin here and here is very thin, so you need to apply it with more care. If you just slap it on carelessly, it'll cake up in just 2 hours. First layer done. Not much coverage, right? But overall, it's brighter, and the tone is slightly corrected. Now for the second layer. Previously I used 3 fingers to get product on the puff, but now I'll just use my middle finger to dab it on. Only in the center. And now, where do we apply it? On areas with redness and where blemishes are clustered. Once more, my brow area is a little red and also here is slightly red. My nose is red too, and I've got some spots here. Now just use your middle finger for the second layer. Okay, second layer applied. Looks cleaner, right? The blotchy areas are better covered. Next, I'll cover dark circles and nose sides, this time unfolding the puff. I applied it only on the top, dabbing just a small amount, as too much makes it thick. It shouldn't spread. It needs to build up for coverage. When you press hard, you apply force, right? The product then spreads out like this. But if you use a light touch and just place it on top, the product doesn't spread and just sits right there. So when applied, it sort of clumps, and that enhances the coverage. So with a really light hand, you're just aiming for this under eye area and building it up. It's not about blending it in, it's about placing it on top. Even though it's the same cushion, the coverage changes based on how you apply it. It's not as good as a concealer, but if you use a different application technique like this, you can get a bit more coverage. You have to use absolutely no pressure. You need to use even less force than you can possibly imagine. You want to very gently apply it, with such a light touch that your skin doesn't even budge when pressed. And since my under eye area is very red, I'll apply a little bit here too. So I've covered it. See how well it's concealed? Just apply it with no pressure at all. If you've done this and it's still not covered, then you haven't used enough product. Then just apply a little more. To prevent errors, it's best to test it on your hand before direct application. See how much comes out. If you apply it directly and too much comes out, you have to fix it, right? Then makeup becomes stressful and it just takes way too long. So it's safer to test it on your hand first and then apply it. And something crucial, I actually applied it incorrectly. Your under eye circles are typically above this under eye hollow and you usually don't have them beneath it. Therefore, you should only apply it above the under eye hollow, using that as your starting point. I just applied it all the way below the under eye hollow. Now what will happen? The hollow becomes more prominent, the dark circles aren't covered, and all you see is that hollow. So what's really important is to never apply it below the under eye hollow. So I folded the puff to apply it precisely. Normally, I use a brush for this. Its smaller surface allows me to gently apply it just above the hollow. Tools are genuinely more significant than you might imagine. While today's makeup demonstration uses minimal tools, this video will ultimately reveal precisely why they are so crucial. You use a brush to specifically target just the dark circles. Just because you use fewer tools doesn't mean the makeup gets easier. In fact, it can be a little harder, but it's good to know how, so let's keep going. We only used the top of the puff, right? Now flip it to the clean side. This is why I only applied it to the top. This area needs to be wiped away. Gently wipe away the area below the under eye hollow. If you wipe too hard, the foundation will also come off. Gently, so gently, wipe off the area below the under eye hollow. There, it's wiped. Then fold it again and focus only on the area above the under eye hollow. This helps cover dark circles. Honestly, it's not as perfectly covered as it would be if I had used a concealer brush. But getting this much coverage with just a cushion foundation is still pretty good. Now fold it the same way and get a little more product. Test again. Check it's not clumpy or over-dispensed. This much is fine. Now for the outer nostril area, since it's also a very narrow spot, you fold it completely to apply. If you unfold it to apply, product will get everywhere. But the skin here is very thin, so if you apply it too thickly, it'll get cakey fast. So you fold it as much as possible to avoid getting it on the surrounding areas. Ensure it's as pointed as possible. Create a sharp point, then press down softly. Just use your middle finger. Apply to sunken areas. If you lack sunken areas, you can skip this, but if your face has contours and hollows, then I'll reapply, focusing on sunken spots, the forehead center. My brows are quite sunken, also above my smile lines. A little on the hollows of my cheeks and my temples too. Now, we just need to cover up the blemishes. These areas weren't covered effectively, were they? These particular areas require substantial coverage, you see. If these areas are oily, the product won't adhere properly. It'll simply glide off. So we apply a bit of powder. As it's a confined area, you need to fold the powder puff likewise. For small areas, always fold it, dip it in powder, and lightly powder the spots that need coverage. You don't need a lot. Now fold the cushion, pick up some product, then fold it completely to make a sharp point. Just tap it on gently. Let the product build up. Use absolutely no pressure. Don't press down at all. No pressure, you're just placing it on top. You're not rubbing it in, you're simply layering it. If it's applied too broadly, turn it over and gently pat around the edges to gradually blend the boundaries, continuously reloading the product. If you don't keep adding product, nothing will come out of the puff and it won't cover anything. Okay, everything is covered. So what if you want to use foundation instead of a cushion? You do it the exact same way. Just put the foundation on the back of your hand or a palette, and just like we did with the cushion, pick up a little at a time. The method is identical. So I've done all the coverage with just this cushion. No concealer needed. Can I just use cushion or foundation for everything? And you might think that, and for a simple look like this, of course you can. But what if you want a more flawless finish and want it to last longer? Well, it's better to use a concealer, because cushion foundations have a thinner consistency than concealers. So even if you layer it, it won't last as long as a concealer would. Concealers are thick, they're much denser, so the formula stays put for longer. And you only need a tiny bit for instant coverage, so if you want something that lasts longer and has higher coverage, then using a concealer is correct. But for a simple approach, a cushion works perfectly fine. I'll summarize today's base makeup routine. Step 1. Apply a thin layer, focusing on evening out your overall skin tone. Step 2. With the puff, use your middle finger to apply more product only where needed. Step 3. Fold the puff completely to make a point, then cover your dark circles and the outer nostril area. Don't think of it as spreading, think of it as placing. Tap it on very gently. Step 4. Reapply a little more with your middle finger to sunken areas and those you want to highlight. This step is optional. Only do this if you want to fill hollow areas and add more dimension. Step 5. To cover blemishes, apply powder first. Then fold the puff completely into a point and gently tap the product on. That's how you can finish your entire base makeup with just a cushion. Alright, I've got a lipstick here. I'm going to use this for both my blush and my lips. I chose the sugar bar color. First, I'm going to apply it as a blush. I applied it to my palm, using only my middle finger from the clean side of the cushion puff, just like this. I'm going to apply the blush as high up as possible. This draws the eyes upward and creates a lifting effect. It gives you a more vibrant look. Since it's trendy, apply it primarily to the upper areas. I'll connect it slightly across the bridge of my nose. If you feel like the flushed look is too much for you, then just skip the middle part and only apply it to the sides. This provides a subtle contour effect. It avoids an overly cute appearance and helps to define your face. After applying, just use your middle finger to lightly tap over any harsh lines with the cushion foundation side. Okay, so the blush is done. I'll do my lips later. My face is getting shiny, so it's time for powder. I'm going to use the white color from VBIA. It really brightens up the skin, and if you apply it to sunken areas, it gives a highlighting effect. Get some on the built-in brush and roll it around on the palm of your hand. You have to roll it here so the powder seeps into the bristles really well. If it just clumps up here, it'll apply patchy like this. A lid like this is just too slick and smooth, so it's quite difficult to apply it evenly. You can just roll it around on a surface that isn't too smooth, like the palm of your hand or a tissue. Using a powder puff makes it more matte. It really controls the oil. However, if you're not careful with the application, your skin might appear somewhat thick. Therefore, you absolutely must not skip the step of gently buffing it in. Simply press it on softly. Don't press too hard, or the coverage will lift. I wasn't paying attention and just dabbed it on like this, and now I have this big noticeable patch. If you just stamp it, it turns out like this. Gently pressing prevents that. Looks good, right? When this happens, gently blend it with your cushion puff. Applying with too much pressure will make it clumpy and necessitate removal. Applying it like this on the apples of your cheeks makes it hard to reach the corners. So just use your middle finger and fold the puff completely to get right up to the side of your nose. You must be gentle to prevent caking, especially as powder tends to clump more easily over moist cushion foundation. So you truly need to be gentler. Okay, now let's move on to contouring. I picked a product that already had a built-in brush. This contour shade is one of my absolute favorites. Simply take this color and gently sweep it down along the areas you wish to define and slim. But you need to have a good amount on the brush, otherwise your base makeup will lift. And you have to be gentle, otherwise your base makeup will come off. Sweep it over the area you want to slim down, and then add a bit more color, working from the outside in. Keep dipping into the product so the brush doesn't run out. That way, your base makeup won't lift. I'll intensify the jawline contour once more, and then extend it down to my neck. Many products with built-in brushes are low quality, but this one's great. It's really soft and not scratchy, so it doesn't scrape off your makeup. That's why I'm using this product, and I'm going to use this brush for my nose contouring too. See how it's angled? The highest point right here fits perfectly into the shape of my eye socket. I'm just going to sweep over this area. Then I'll flip the brush to its other side and following its curved line, gently sculpt the shape of my nose. I'm holding the brush upright to make that U shape I talk about a lot. This is possible because the brush is so thin. It's hard to do with a thick contouring brush. Wow, this thin brush works surprisingly well, and a little on the bridge of my nose too. It works so well for nose contouring. For my eyebrows, I'll use the Eclipse pencil. This is the ash brown color. I'll just quickly fill them in with the pencil. The Eclipse pencil has great color payoff, and is it sharp? Its thin tip makes great hair-like strokes. Highly recommended. So I've done my eyebrows, and now for eyeshadow. I chose this one because I like the color story. It's I'm Mean Crunchy Peach with blush. It's a great eyeshadow reducing product. You don't have to use this one. However, you will absolutely need to have a pearl base, a shading color, and an eyeliner shade available in your palette. That way, one eyeshadow palette is all you need, and today I'll use my fingers. A brush applies color evenly, but using your fingers also works. First, I'll use the lightest base eyeshadow. Load some product onto your finger and apply it mainly to the very bottom part, starting from the middle, then going forward and finally back. This area is typically the oiliest, so we set this part with powder. Then gradually blend it upwards. See, that gets rid of the oiliness. It smudges less this way. While I typically use eye primer, a base eyeshadow also works. However, applying an excessive amount of base eyeshadow can cause this area to become overly matte, which then hinders the proper pigmentation of subsequent eyeshadows. It can also look really cakey, and it's hard to apply just the right amount, you know? That's why people use eye primer, but you can do it with eyeshadow like this. Once the oiliness is controlled, you must stop. Don't apply too much. Next, pick up the shading color using your middle finger. From the outer corner, apply it forward towards the inner corner. Just apply to the outer part. The eyeshadow might clump a bit like this. Since I'm using my fingers, then just gently dab with your cushion puff. Tap. If you pat it, the harsh lines will disappear. You can also gently swipe it. Gently. See? It blended out so naturally. I'll add a little shading to the front too. And now I'll apply the pearl shade. Put it on your ring finger and apply it to your eyelid crease. It looks so pretty when it peeks through as you open your eyes. And now, get the darkest shading color on a cotton swab. If you just dab it on, turn it, and then apply it, powder will fall everywhere. Roll it gently on the back of your hand or a tissue and press it down firmly. Then you can apply it right along your lash line. A cotton swab applies the color quite softly. If you can't be precise, a soft application is best. It's less noticeable and looks natural, avoiding a messy appearance. If not precise and too dark, it will look quite messy. So, I'm just softly blurring the line this way. Press down firmly on the cotton swab. When you press it, it gets flattened. Use that flattened cotton swab to draw out the wing. Don't use any pressure at all. Just think of it as drawing very gently, multiple times. It's easier with a pointed cotton swab, but just in case you don't have one, I'm telling you to press it down like this. Pressing the cotton swab makes winging your eyeliner simple. Be sure to press it down, then rather than drawing it all at once, you can layer it gently in several small strokes. You really must connect this part here, otherwise the line appears abruptly broken, so please make sure to connect it even towards the front. So we've got this really soft line drawn now. Then, using only the leftover product, I'm going to extend the outer corner, starting from the very end of my pupil and going straight out horizontally. Just like this, straight across. It's incredibly easy, so you might not even need a brush for this, everyone. Since its color is soft, the extended corner looks very natural. I'm going to use eyeliner now. You don't have to use this. Defining with just eyeshadow is sufficient. In that case, you don't really need to use an eyeliner. I'll be applying the Eclipse pencil in ash brown. I'll just fill in the area right at the root of my eyelashes. So I've drawn the line and now I'll do my under eye area. For the under eye area, the finest product is a highlighter. While I frequently apply highlighter there, using it alone tends to result in an overly shimmery and stark white appearance. So you're going to blend this shimmer with a base eyeshadow. That way you get rid of that messy look from the shimmer and can create a much cleaner under eye look. This way, you can add volume to your under eye with a highlighter. Simply combine the highlighter with the base eyeshadow. You do have a highlighter, don't you? Seriously, a highlighter is an absolute essential. A must-have. There's really no substitute for a highlighter. The products I'm using today are the ones that can't be replaced. I'm mixing substitutes. Once I've applied it to my under eye, I press it with a cotton swab once more. Dip it in the shading color to make a shadow below the highlight. Just draw it on gently. And I'm going to add a pop of pearl to the inner corner of my eye by mixing the highlighter and the shimmery eyeshadow. Lightly dab the highlighter on the inner corner of your eye and sweep it gently upwards. Follow your eye's natural curve, sweeping upward. Then I will curl my lashes. And for the final touch, some black mascara. I'm not going to wear false eyelashes, but my own lashes are really sparse. So I'm going to use a thin mascara like this to meticulously coat even the shortest hairs. First, apply it all horizontally, then turn it vertically for those tiny short hairs. Reapply it. Applying more will bring them to life, won't it? This is what I do when I'm not wearing falsies. Normally, I'd also use a fixer before mascara to prevent smudging, but since I'm minimizing products today, I'm skipping it and just using a mascara that doesn't smudge easily. If you're worried about smudging, apply a little powder before your mascara. Put a little powder on a powder puff and just lightly dust it across like this. Too much applied. It's whitened, right? You don't want that. Just a little powder absorbs oil, reducing smudges. Looking straight ahead, find the spots where your lashes are too short to see or where they're sparse, and focus on those areas by holding the mascara wand vertically to add more coats. Shall I apply it to the lower lashes? Holding it vertically, my lower lash mascara is done. Now I'm going to apply highlighter, but since it can get clumpy with fingers, I'll use a powder puff. The one I used earlier. I'll load it up, roll it the same way, and apply it to the nose tip. And then, pat, pat, pat on the bridge of your nose. If you desire some on your cheeks, pat, pat, pat. So I've added that shimmery highlight. Now I'll apply the lipstick I used before. The lip color's a bit disappointing. May I add one more lip product? A glossy finish. This is the rosy mocha color. It appears a little darker than I expected, so I'll blot some and then reapply it. That's definitely better. 2AN really crafts their colors beautifully. They're great at creating those delicate shades. The makeup isn't completely finished yet. Doing my hair will change the whole vibe, so I'll adjust the makeup a bit more to match my hair. I've styled my hair and put in my Freya Grey contact lenses. Firstly, the blush isn't showing up much. If I apply the lipstick directly, it'll be too dark, so I'll adjust the quantity on my hand and then add more color. So I've finished applying all the blush. I feel my under eye area is quite bright. The upper part has shading, but the lower part still seems too light. Therefore, I'm going to mix the base and contour colors to press it down and reapply it to my agiosal area. Since it's so bright, I'm just toning down the color a bit. And you know that under eye hollow? If you want more coverage, feel free to add products. Only then would I recommend this concealer pencil. It's the 0.5 Ice Beige. It's a really bright color, so it can fill in that under eye hollow. If you gently apply it just to the under eye hollow, it will appear filled in. You know that specific line that defines the under eye hollow? That line right here. You have to apply it only on that line. Don't let it spread to other areas, and this is the brightest one, Ice Beige. You have to use a color this bright. A moderately bright one won't really cover it. It's filled in. My hair didn't suit my outfit, so I tied it up. This looks better, doesn't it? So today I attempted a minimal product makeup look, but honestly, I'm not entirely satisfied. It feels like it's subtly lacking in detail, you know? Still, it's perfectly fine for everyday use. For those who found it tough to follow due to lack of products or tools, I hope you try it after watching today's video. Let's succeed together with haeni. Thank you so much for watching today's video. Everyone, have a great week. Stay well, stay healthy, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you so much for always being here with me. Bye!